Very Gray, hi. Could you guys let me know how the audio is? Can you hear me? Is anything too loud or too quiet? Let me know. Music is a bit loud? Okay. Is that better or you want it quieter? Game audio's loud. You can adjust it. Is that better? Better or you want it quieter? I think so? Okay. If it's still too loud, let me know and I can fix it. How are you guys doing? This is it. Maya's trial. We were finally able to make some headway in this case. Seems like they're trying to accuse her of the other incident too. We're dealing with one tough customer. The real culprit is a witch. That much I'm certain of. But the question is, who? I think I know the answer. The butler did it. Jean Grey Earl. If they think I'm going to let them take Maya, they've got another thing coming. No! He's so shiny. So, it's gotta be that, young butler? I know what you're thinking. I couldn't quite believe it at first either. But the evidence and circumstances all point to the butler. He, or she, has to be the witch. At least. It'll be certain if the magic gem turns out to be a fake. But if that's the case, then Belduke's murderer was also... Yeah, it would be Grey Earl. It wasn't my baby. Are you sure, Avery? Are you sure? No, it can't be true. He wouldn't have done that. Espella? I know, Jean. He held Sir Belduke in the greatest of respect. Jean didn't kill him. I'm sure of it. Doing good, finished my class, and now I'm trying to connect my tablet. Good luck. You got the cord. Let's go. Jean Grey Earl. Are you really what people think you are? There's still so many unknown factors in this trial. Ah! It's you! It's Luke! I'm sorry, Maya. What I did is unforgivable. Justice for Jean. SMH, I'm ready to throw hands with Phoenix. No! Phoenix can't defend himself. Actually, he can. He's done it before, but not, like, physically. What are you saying, Luke? All you did was testify about what you saw. But I should have trusted you. Well, you trust us now, right? Maya. Anyway, Luke, it was thanks to you that we discovered new information. Thanks to me? Sure, you got Cracker to testify. That was a great idea. I wish I could talk to animals. Don't you too, Espella? Oh yes, I'd love to have a chat with Eve. So, Luke, will you teach us how to do it? Pretty please? Yeah, of course. I could try. Yay, that's a promise, right? Mr. Wright? What is it, Luke? Do you mind if I join you from now on? Not at all, Luke. I realized during the trial that in this strange town, even what you see with your own eyes may not be real. That's why I'm not giving up yet. Professor, I know he'll return. We can't give up hope. You know, that's what I've been thinking too. Really? I have a feeling he'll reappear again when we get in trouble and help us out. Because, I mean, it's the professor we're talking about here. Right. And remember what he always says. Look forward to the future. Always look on the bright side. I don't think it was the professor who said that. Defender, accused. The intermission is over. Return to the courtroom. Let's go. It's time to bring this trial to a close. Oh, I have something for you, Mr. Wright. Here, please take it. Maybe it'll come in handy in the trial. A letter, huh? Let's see who it's from. Wait, Newton Belduke? There are several sheets of parchment inside, but they're all blank. The professor and I got this when we went to see the storyteller. Thank you, Luke. The more info we have, the better. You're welcome. Letter from Belduke to the storyteller contains only blank sheets of parchment. Wow, the more information the better, except there's no information. I've got no proof that it was Jean Greyrel who turned the professor into gold. Even if the magic gem is a fake, it's still not decisive evidence. I don't know what'll happen next, but I do know this battle's far from over. We will now resume the trial of Maya Fey. First things first, the occult crime analysts have finished examining the evidence. They have tested the 2 magic gems from the Witch's Scepter. Gold ore floated on the surface of the water, whereas Pamalia sank. It was said that genuine magic gems float in pure water, wasn't it? Thus, it has been established that the Pamalia magic gem is a fake. Order! Order! Order in court! This does not prove that Godor was used, of course. Nonetheless, the defense's theory does now seem more plausible. The court considers it worth looking into. You have no objection to that, do you, Inquisitor Barnum? No, my lord. Yay! Now then, bring in the witness. Tiny child, all alone. Witness, state your name and profession. My name is Jean Greyrel. I served the late Master Belduke. Since his death, I've been tending to his dwelling and putting his research materials in order. I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's something a bit different about Greyrel today. Witness, there is something we need to clarify first of all. As you are no doubt aware, you have been accused of being a witch. Therefore, it is vital that you tell us. Are you a boy or a girl? Please hold on. Why? What is it? Excuse my rudeness, my lord, but at this time, I do not intend to answer that question. Why do you refuse to answer, witness? I had been following this trial from the gallery, and so am fully aware of the utterly absurd accusations made against me. Alchemy, the art pursued by Master Belduke, is concerned with the rules and logic that govern nature. Sus! Hi, Epic Pikachu, how are you? As someone who has been helping Master Belduke for quite some time, I dare say your theory is both illogical and impossible. Objection! The Witch's Scepter was thrown into the crime scene through a portal created by the magic spell Godor. That portal could only have been opened from your room. And what's more, one of the walls in your room is painted green. I believe anyone is free to paint their walls in whichever color they please. Besides, your theory relies on one magic gem being a fake. While that may have been proven true, another question has arisen. Where could the genuine magic gem be? It must have been swapped with the fake one and discarded somewhere. I'm afraid that's impossible. Why? If we assume, as you have claimed, that the witch used the spell Godor, that would mean the magic gem must have been swapped after creating the portal. So tell me, when and where would the witch have disposed of the magic gem? I see your point. Yeah, slay, baby. Definitely some arguing is going on here. Several people paid witness to the incident, and the Knights of the Inquisition arrived at the scene immediately after. During that time, no one left the building, and the whole place was meticulously searched. Naturally, my room was searched as well, although there was not much to see, as I have few personal belongings. Despite our inspection, nothing resembling a magic gem was found. I assure you, we have not overlooked anything. I would swear it to my honor. I would swear to it on my honor as a knight. So, Mr. Wright, if you wish to accuse me of being a witch, should you not first prove that there is a connection between me and this missing magic gem? Furthermore, I would appreciate it if you could please approach the matter in a rational way, like an alchemist. The house was searched very soon after the crime. If the gem wasn't found, then it means Grey Earl hid it somewhere. Somewhere the Knights of the Inquisition would not have looked. Where could it be? The witness has made a valid argument. How will the defense respond? The knights who searched Sir Belduke's premises weren't looking for a magic gem. That's why there's a certain place they didn't consider searching. Interesting. You really don't give up easily, do you? In that case, perhaps you could tell us all where the magic gem is. In Belduke's study, Grey Earl's room, or Grey Earl's possession. Sir Belduke's premises were thoroughly searched. I don't think anything would have been missed there. You anticipated that, and that's why you hid it in a blind spot that you knew wouldn't occur to the knights. A blind spot, you say? Well, where is it? It's somewhere on Jean Grey Earl's person. What? It's on the witness. Don't tell me. The witness has it in their pocket. You're just guessing, aren't you? You think you can just say anything you like. By the way, I'm afraid there are no pockets in my clothing. No pockets? How do you survive without pockets? This is the second time I've seen Grey Earl today. Objection! Objection, hi kimono. And both times, I've had a feeling that something wasn't quite right. Maybe it's just me, but it could be related to the whereabouts of the magic gem. I'm the favorite. Coming off strong. Defense, show us the location of the magic gem. Where do you think this witness hid the magic gem on the day of the crime? Right there. Got it. Thank you for the hydrate and stretch, Draven. How are you? Witness. Hi. Hope you're doing well. Objection. We met for the first time at Sir Belduke's premises. At that time, you had an amethyst attached to your collar. Oh, that's right. Mr. Grey Earl always wears that gemstone. Alchemists believe that amethysts emit positive energy. Amethysts are purple. But when I saw you in the waiting room this morning, the gemstone you were wearing was green, not purple. So my question now is, where has it gone? Where is that amethyst that you supposedly always wear? Objection. Wait just a minute. The witness wears a purple gemstone? Is something amiss, Inquisitor Barnum? When we arrived at the crime scene, the witness came out to meet us. I recall the witness wearing a gemstone, but that gemstone was green. Green? Amethysts aren't green. Although amateurs sometimes mistake presiolite for amethyst, but that's irrelevant now. Witness, you've been trying to pin the blame on the defendant. In order to do that, you replace the Godor magic gem with a regular gemstone. We thought the witch who killed Sir Belduke had used the spell Famalia. You got it to work, let's go! Knew that if a witch's scepter, with the Famalia and Goldar magic gems attached, was discovered at the crime scene, the suspect would be accused of committing both crimes, and that's precisely what happened. The girl captured at the crime scene was accused of slaying both Sir Belduke and Sir Layton. That was your plan. You removed the Godor magic stone from the scepter and inserted your amethyst in its place. And then, you attached the Godor gem to your collar. That's why, when we saw you shortly after the incident, you were wearing a green gemstone. To think, that was in fact a magic gem! And where is it now, guys?
Order! Order! Witness, is that true?
This amounts to nothing more than conjecture. I do not believe you have any solid proof. However, I have to concede that you have surmised a logical connection between me and the missing magic gem. Consequently, I am prepared to answer your questions.
They're all picking on Baby, they are. But that's because Baby lied!
Good. I will repeat what I asked you previously. Witness, state your name, profession, and finally, your gender.
My name is Jean Grail. I have been serving the late Master Belduke. As you can see, I wear a butler's outfit, but the truth is, as the defense claims, I am a girl.
Big hair flip, let's go. Slay.
A girl? Unbelievable.
What?
Dun dun dun! Baby girly indeed.
The butler is a girl?
Order! Order! Order in the court! Jean Greyer, are you declaring to this court that you are in fact female? Yes. But everyone in town was under the impression that you were a boy. Eh? Did you hear that? The butler's a girl! Doesn't that make him, her, a maid? I knew there was something suspicious about him. I mean, her. You know why, right? Think about it. All that alchemy, that's mighty suspicious. Just listen to them. Listen to the wild gossip and accusations. Alchemists pursue knowledge of the rules that govern nature. But to the townspeople, alchemy is no different to magic. Had they known I was a girl, they would have taken me for a witch. That's what Master Belduke was worried about. He told me it would be safer to pretend to be a boy. Sus. In other words, you disclose that you're a female, but deny that you're a witch. I would have thought that was obvious. She knew that once her gender came into question, she wouldn't have been able to conceal it. That's why she's made this public now. It was the most rational choice for her. Inquisitor Barnum, may I ask you one question? Has all the evidence in this Golden Gentleman case already been presented? Why do you ask? As it stands, you do not have a single piece of evidence proving that I am a witch. Given the lack of pertinent evidence against me, I would like to be permitted to return to my duties. What say you, Inquisitor Barnum? It has been proven that the two gems were swapped. However, it may also have been possible for the accused to have done so.
Objection!
Maya has no reason to swap the gems. This is a place of judgment. There is no need for us to understand the reasons behind a criminal's actions. Huh? After all, those whom we judge are otherworldly creatures. They are witches. It is impossible for a human being to understand the reasonings of a witch. That's crazy. Is there nothing we could do? At this rate, Maya will be... Barnum still thinks Maya's a witch. We've made it this far, and yet it feels like we're back at stage 1. It seems there are no more rational arguments against me. Now, if you'll kindly excuse me... I don't have much on Greyer when it comes to the professor's case. But should I just let her go? Why don't we ask about another case? There's nothing else I could follow up on regarding the professor's case. So what can I do? There's only one other option. Miss Greyer, I have to ask you to remain at the witness stand. Is there something else you wish to ask me? Your testimony's not over yet. There's still something you need to tell us about. Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I cannot help you. I've told you all I could about this incident. And I'm afraid you've got the wrong idea, Miss Greyer. Your Honor, what this witness needs to testify about is not the professor's unfortunate accident, but rather the incident from 3 months ago, namely Sir Belduke's death. As she was present in the building at the time, working as a live-in butler, she needs to testify about the events of that day. About Sir Belduke's death? The The fact that one of the magic gems was swapped leads me to a single conclusion. Both crimes, the murder of Sir Belduke and the transmutation of the professor, were the work of the same witch. The truth behind the alchemist's death may also hold the answer to this case. What is your opinion on this, Inquisitor Barnum? I'll allow you to have your way this time, Sir Blue Knight. The Inquisition has no objections. Inquisitor Zacharias Barnum, it seems you have lost that unyielding attitude so admired by the townspeople. Here you are now, letting a novice defender lead you by the nose. It is hard to believe you have been known as the unwavering sword of justice, for your usually cool-headed judgment. You know little about me, witness. Do you think I care about defending my name? It is this town that I wish to defend. Sir Belduke's murder is the only case to have remained unsolved for so long. Jean Grey Earl, you shall now testify about it. Barnum's bench is so empty compared to Phoenix's, it's crazy. As demanded by both the defense and Inquisition, the witness will testify about Sir Belduke's death. Any questions? No, my lord. I must, however, mention one more thing before we begin. If it cannot be proven that Jean Grey Earl is a witch, as claimed by the defense, the court will irrevocably consider Maya Fey to be the witch responsible for both crimes. Is that understood? You had no choice, Sir Blue Knight. If you don't want the trial to end right now, ready your sword and face the challenge that awaits. But the opponent is a real witch. It's a gamble that puts Maya's life at stake.
Nick?
Maya?
No witch is gonna outwit you in court. You're an ace attorney after all.
She said the thing!
So, let's do it!
Title drop, exactly. The defense accepts the conditions. Let's proceed with the trial. Inquisitor Barnum, you may begin. We shall start with a brief summary of the incident. About 3 months ago, in the dead of night, Sir Belduke, the alchemist, was murdered. The crime took place in his study, just as with this incident. The room had been locked from the inside. The victim was found still seated in the chair at his desk, so we can assume he was attacked while working. There were very clear strangulation marks visible on his neck. Oh! There's something trickling down from his mouth. Is that blood? Yes, most likely. The victim probably bit his tongue as he was struggling with his assailant. And you said earlier that some white powder was spilled all over the floor, correct? Yes, hence we expected to find the killer's footprints. However, there were none. The killer must have somehow approached the victim without stepping on the floor. After murdering Sir Belduke, the killer left the room without opening the door. Undoubtedly, the crime must have been committed with the use of witchcraft. When did Avery last bite and or physically inconvenience me? That's a good question. I feel like usually it's the other way around, because I like messing with Avery. The body was discovered the following morning by the butler, Miss Grey Earl. The body was found by Grey Earl, huh? Thank you, Inquisitor Barnum. The Court Illustrator's sketches will be added to the evidence. Victory? I don't know. I'm sure you have, I just can't recall it because I do it a lot more than you do. Now, witness, begin your testimony. Let me see these. 1, 2, 3, okay. Tell us about the events spanning the night of the crime, from the evening beforehand until you discover the body. Night of the crime. At around 1 o'clock at night, I excused myself and left Master Belduke in his study. When I called him for breakfast in the morning, he did not respond. The door to his study was locked. A neighbor had come for a visit just then, so we forced the door open together. All the potions and other concoctions from the study have been confiscated. I wonder if they're being properly stored.
Why does that matter?
Potions and concoctions were confiscated. The victim was an alchemist, after all. We were hoping the items confiscated from his study could provide some clues. Besides, such things must not fall into the wrong hands. It may not be standard practice, but it was deemed necessary. It is true, kimono has never chomped my fingers. The confiscated goods are stored in our secret vault. The only person with access to them is the High Inquisitor, Lady Darklaw. It has caused me great difficulty, as I have not been able to put Master's research materials in order as a result. The confiscated items shall be returned as soon as Sir Belduke's murder is resolved. I shall be looking forward to that. Defense, you may begin the interrogation. Okay.
Hold it!
Those items were confiscated 3 months ago. You still haven't got them back? No, not a single thing. Even though many of those were personal items with no relevance to the crime. Now that I think about it, that room did look pretty empty. As I said, the victim was an alchemist, and among his possessions were some very dangerous concoctions. But he did produce medicines to aid sick townspeople as well, to give him his due. Indeed, alchemy is highly beneficial to the townspeople, even if they fail to notice it. It may be beneficial, but it also inspires fear. People fear what they do not understand. At any rate, I cannot return the items to you until Sir Belduke's case is solved. That is what High Inquisitor Darklaw has decided. And the confiscated goods are being kept in a secret vault by the Knights of the Inquisition? Even the Inquisitors cannot freely enter that vault. It is strictly supervised. What's with the ... That was a pretty short testimony. What do you make of it, Mr. Wright? Well, we're talking about an incident that happened 3 months ago. We've got to get a bit more information first. Miss Greyrell had plenty of respect for Sir Belduke, you know. I can't believe she would have killed him. I'm sure you'll find the truth. It's what you always do. That's right. I will. Okay.
Hold it!
So you last saw him alive at 1 a.m., is that correct? Yes. Master had a habit of conducting his experiments at night, so it was the usual time for me to finish my work. Weren't you helping him with those experiments? He would sometimes have some errands for me, but alchemists generally keep their experiments a secret. That's why I would always excuse myself at that time, unless Master had some other tasks for me. And that night, there was no more work for you. That's correct. I wished Master a good night as I shut the door behind me and then heard him lock the key. There was nothing unusual about him, at least, nothing I noticed. Did you finish those errands? Bedtime for Jean, exactly. Baby gotta sleep.
Hold it!
And what time was that? Master would always take his breakfast at 9 a.m., so it was around that time. Who's the favorite? You can't make me choose that, you know. You can't ask that. You guys can fight amongst yourselves. Let me stay out of this. Trick question, it's me. Oh! A third contender. SpongeBob references. I don't always get all of them, but sometimes. So you didn't have the key to Sir Belduke's study, is that correct? Yes, there's only one key to that room, and Master always kept it with him. Master's research was a very delicate matter, you see. We had to take strict measures to prevent outsiders from entering that room. Occasionally, delinquents would try to make off with one or other of Master's medicaments. Thieves stealing from an alchemist? I can't tell if that's incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Probably the latter. That's why the door to that room is made from thick oak wood. I wouldn't have been able to force the door open on my own. She couldn't have entered the room before that, then. Unless go door.
Hold it!
Guys! Wait, you mean you broke the door? The only key to that room was in Sir Belduke's pocket. The only way to enter the study was to break the door open. And you managed that with the help of a neighbor who came to visit? Yes. It wasn't a social visit, mind. He came as a patient. A patient? Can you tell me more about him?
Objection!
The victim's neighbor is irrelevant. He has nothing to do with this case. Ugh, I think you're pushing it this time. A witness is hardly irrelevant. What's got him so shaken? He looks as if he just had a rush of blood to the head. Master Belduke had been making very potent medicines, among other things. We would get people coming from the town at all hours of the day or night asking for them. And yet, in return for all the help Master offered, people would gossip about him dabbling in witchcraft. So you broke the door together with a neighbor? Yes. When I explained the situation to him, he brought over an axe. Then he proceeded to attack the door with great force, smashing it into splinters. I see. By the way, about that neighbor, who was the...
It's time for Emir's grand entrance. Did you miss me, guys?
I missed him.
Order! Order! Could it be that it was you who...
Where are you looking, old man? I'm right here. And as for who I am, I'm the alchemist's neighbor and a witness in that case too.
Passion for justice seething within, Emir is always at the crime scene.
Objection!
This guy again, he's wonderful. It's you! Again! You're the guy from earlier, right? Yep, that's me. Amir's the name. How ya been, Bluey? Are you really the alchemist neighbor? Seriously? I know, right? Freaky coincidence, eh? But yeah, his house is next to mine. Ridiculed earlier, Amir returns. Drinking like a king, he never ever learns. That's why I tried to stop you from asking about the neighbor. How is he not in prison for fraud? He's just a lucky guy. Why so cold, Inquisitor Burnham? Unable to hold his steady cold gaze, Amir drinks fast as if in a daze. And the musician standing next to you? Oh yeah, that's my private bard, Birdley. Alright, musical genius. Hold on. Oh, dearie me. Oh, dearie me. Well, no use shutting the stable door after the horse has bolted. Let us move on. Witness, since you're already here, you may as well add your testimony. Testify about what you witnessed on the morning after the crime. You can count on me. Apparently he has a bottomless chalice too, for sure. It dawned on me then, the witch cast Fomalia, just like in this case. Can I just objection him here? Sir, were you not paying attention?
Objection!
There's something you don't seem to understand here, Mr. Amir. The Fomalia magic gem in the witch's scepter is a fake. The gem is useless. Just like this buffoon's testimony. Ah. Therefore, your testimony doesn't hold water. Just like anything else he says. Psh. What? Ignored and scorned without credibility. Will majestic Amir now show humility? What? A fake! Shots fired, for real. You should have listened to the trial more carefully. Now that has been dealt with, Inquisitor Barnum, This witch's scepter was not discovered at the crime scene when Sir Belduke was murdered. Is that correct? Indeed. We deduced that Fomalia must have been used. However...
Objection!
But the Fomalia magic gem was a fake! That much has been demonstrated today. What's more, as we've learned from Cracker the Parrot's testimony, the witch used the spell Godor. The fact that there's a green wall at the crime scene corroborates that.
Objection!
That wall may well not have been painted green 3 months ago. And besides, no one could have passed through a portal so small. To be honest, I've started wondering, were Sir Layton's and Sir Belduke's murders actually committed by the same witch?
Objection!
Your Honor, I'd like to remind you that that was the Inquisition's claim. He's right, though. It's gotta be the same culprit in both cases. And, at the very least, it's possible that the witch used the spell Godor to commit Sir Belduke's murder. What? In that case, I will ask the defense to show us proof. Do you have proof that the witch could have used Godor to kill Sir Belduke? Do I? Would it be the floor plan since the wall is like right behind his chair? We'll go with that.
Take that!
No. This evidence is meaningless. Just like your very existence, you could say. Huh? Your old talk. Your assertion is worthless. Just like my very existence, you could say. What? Here's proof, said Sir Knight in Blue, but his argument's been proven untrue. Being publicly ridiculed and treated like dirt. Now you know how it feels too, eh? Arg! No! The culprit conjured up a small magic portal in that room and made use of it to carry out the crime. I'm sure it was possible, and there's evidence that makes it blatantly obvious. And save Scum we trust I didn't save! Mr. Wright, let's think again about the circumstances at the crime scene and then give it another go. But what I said made sense, no? Yeah, rest in pieces. Is it one of the illustrations? Is it like this one? Because you could like reach through?
Take that!
I guess so. I'd like you to take a look at these. Aren't those the court illustrator's sketches? As you can see from the sketch, the victim was seated at his desk when he was murdered. And what can you see right behind the victim? A small landscape painting. Thank you, Inquisitor, but there's one more point of note. Look closely at the painting. Do you notice anything behind it? Oh, I see it. The wall behind it had already been painted green. Which means the witch could have used the portal spell there 3 months ago.
Objection!
One moment, my lord. Consider how small that portal would have been. Could a witch have passed through it? I think not.
Objection!
Of course, the witch would not be able to go right through it. However, if you look at the distance between the portal and the victim, you'll notice that the victim, Sir Belduke, was sitting just an arm's length from where the portal would have been. The witch didn't have to enter the room at all. All she had to do was reach through with her arms in order to strangle Sir Belduke, who was sitting right under the painting. Order. Inquisitor Barnum, what say you to that? A fascinating theory, Sir Blue Knight. But there is a notable contradiction within it. Where would that be? Tell me, why do you think we concluded that Fomalia had to have been used? We had a certain reason for it, of course. And what was that reason exactly? The crime scene had been tampered with. How so? Imagine the circumstances of Sir Belduke's death, and it should become obvious even to you. The victim was choked to death. And yet there were no signs of a struggle. Highly improbable, don't you think? What are you getting at? Think about it. Can you imagine anyone just sitting back and letting themselves be strangled? Clearly, there should be evidence of a struggle. And since we haven't found any, that must mean the killer erased all traces of a fight from the crime scene. Indeed, that would be the logical conclusion. Now surely it would be impossible to do any such thing had the witch only reached inside through a portal. In order to cover up the evidence she left behind, the witch had to have used a familiar. Without doing so, there would have been no point in her using the spell Godor.
Objection!
Miss Grayle could have done it. She might have been able to tamper with the crime scene. What are you talking about? The morning of the crime. From the time Miss Grayle and that guy entered the study, until the arrival of the Knights of the Inquisition, there was a window of time in which she had the opportunity to do so. We need to look into what happened in that window. It seems we may be in need of another testimony. Witnesses, testify about what happened in the time between the body being found and the Knights of the Inquisition arriving. Sure thing. Ask me anything. I'll tell you all you need to know. Oh, glorious Amir, tell us more. Maybe you won't be laughed at as before. Only 2 people accessed the crime scene at that time, Grayle and Amir. Believe it or not, Amir is the key witness in this case. We love Amir. After discovering the body, I broke down the door and saw the alchemist slumped in his chair. Gave me a jolt. The butler hurried to call the Knights of the Inquisition. He never entered the study. What did I do then? I was asked to keep an eye on things. So I went in to have a bit of a look at everything. All that made me pretty drowsy, so I went and took a little nap on the couch. No. Wait, what? Mr. Amir, you said the butler didn't enter the crime scene? Yup, he never set foot in there. The moment he saw Belduke, he told me to stand guard till the Knights of the Inquisition arrived. And then off he went. What a resourceful apprentice that alchemist has, I thought to myself. I almost feel sorry for you, Sir Blue Knight. After all, your suspect couldn't have tampered with the crime scene. Are we just going to ignore that he said he was taking a nap on the couch? That can't be true. Defense, please proceed with the interrogation. Yes, Your Honor. They're not listening to him. Guys.
Hold it!
You took a nap in a room where a man had been murdered? With the body still in there? Why so surprised, Bluey? It was 9 a.m. I'm usually still half asleep at that hour. I suppose maybe all the merrymaking the night before added to that as well. An infamous celebrity known to all inns, Amir makes merry like a young prince. So yeah, I was kind of overcome with drowsiness. There was nothing else I could do but go to sleep, right? When the butler returned, accompanied by the 2 knights, he was supposedly sleeping noisily on the victim's couch. You mean he was snoring? Apparently, he was grinding his teeth. I shouldn't have asked. But then, anyone could have tampered with the crime scene when Mr. Amir was asleep, right? Good catch, Luke. Anyway, I barely caught a wink of sleep when those knights arrived. And the teeth grinding is sort of a paralyzing effect on people, so I've been told. So even if someone had come in, I don't think they would have been able to do much. Right. That's crazy. Grayle didn't set foot in the study. But then that would mean it wasn't feasible for her to have tampered with the evidence of the crime scene. If that's the case, then we better look at other possibilities. Right, Mr. Wright? Yeah. Unfortunately, it all hinges on Amir's testimony. But who knows what that guy might say next? I'd better treat him with extra care. Cross-examining him is like walking through a field of landmines. He just might be more dangerous than Barnum. Let's gently press him into giving us some more information. I'll be as gentle as a lamb to make sure I don't get his goat. The butler never entered the study. Okay.
Hold it!
What were you having a look at? Ah, well, I was asked to take care of the crime scene, wasn't I? So I had to, make sure everything was in order. I mean, you know. It's not like I went wild with excitement at being left in a real alchemist room full of mysterious stuff. I'm sure you didn't, Mr. Sticky Fingers. And besides, Besides, she asked me to look for something, so I was doing that too.
Hang on!
Miss Grey Earl, you look lost in thought. Oh, were you talking to me? Even she could be caught off guard if I choose the right moment. You've been listening to Mr. Amir's testimony, haven't you? Yes, I have. He was asked to look for something. It was you who asked him, I assume. What did you tell him to look for? I think you're mistaken. I don't remember making any request of that sort. Huh? Oi, Bluey! Were you even listening to what I said? It was a lady that asked me. The butler's a guy, you numbskull! Who's gonna tell him? Hey! What's up? Why is everyone looking at me like that? Quite a while ago, we learned, does he know? Apparently not, that the butler, Jean Grey Earl, is actually female. What? That's why when you said a lady asked you to search for something, we assumed it was Miss Grey Earl. Huh? What? Daydreaming, listening, but not hearing. That look of shock is almost endearing. What the? Why didn't anyone tell me before? Do you require a personal notification? You should have been listening to the trial. Knight of the court, squabbling with a witness is most unseemly. What I would like to know now is this. Who was the lady that made the request of Amir? Oh yeah. That was actually Miss...
He's absolutely certainly talking about me.
Oh, and you are?
Oh, I'm Letty. Hang on a minute. I'll get down there post haste.
The witness stand is full again.
But, Miss Letty, who are you precisely?
Me? Who am I? I'm Letty Mailer. I'm the courier.
The courier? A courier is a person who collects and delivers letters or packages. I know. Thanks anyway, Espella. I wish you'd stop misreading my mind. Hold on, Miss Mailer. Do you mean it was you who irresponsibly made such a request to that troublemaker?
Me? Maybe. Yes, I guess so. I asked him to help me find something.
Outrageous! Why was I not informed of this?
I guess no one told you. Maybe because you didn't ask?
It seems we will need to ask you to testify, Miss Mailer. Explain to us how you were involved in this case.
Frankly, I wouldn't say I was involved in anything. Now I'm in a tight spot. I bet it's because that guy said something weird about me.
Har 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 har! Ease up on me, lady. Like the saying goes. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. Beats being in a pickle all on your own, eh? Now then, Miss Letty Mailer, testify about that day. That voice could make windows shatter. That's crazy. Sir Belduc said he'd have a letter to send, so I came by to pick it up.
Hold it!
You mean you came to pick up a letter from Sir Belduc?
Yes, I was told by Sir Belduc that it'd be ready in the morning. What's more, he said it was extremely important. I felt a sense of duty surging within me.
Hang on!
Miss Grey Earl, I have a question.
Yes, what is it?
Did anything catch your attention during Miss Mailer's statement?
Nothing in particular, and at any rate to begin with. I was not aware of the fact that the courier visited us that day. Ah, that's right. You weren't there when I arrived. And once I found the letter, I left immediately.
Did you know about this letter, witness?
I would never pry into Master's personal matters, such as his correspondence.
Well, that should conclude the testimony. So now we know there was a third witness.
But Miss Mailer only came to pick up a letter. That doesn't help us much, does it?
Well, perhaps there's more to it than meets the eye. A letter, huh?
Belduke was about to send a letter to someone before he was killed. It may not be relevant to this case, but something about that is bothering me. Maybe it's worth asking Letty about it. Okay.
Hold it!
Yap for me. And so, you visited Sir Belduke's dwelling the morning after he was murdered.
I got a start when I arrived. The door was smashed in and the man was walking around with an axe rummaging about. As for Sir Belduke, he was slumped in his chair and the butler was nowhere to be found. That brute's gone too far, I thought to myself. You can see why, right?
Of course. Naturally. In your place, I'd have thought so myself.
That's mean. Anyway, I spoke with him and he told me what happened, so that's when I asked him to help me.
You asked him to look for something.
Yes, the letter. I asked him to search for the letter. But in the end, the guy passed out on the couch. I found the letter myself and then I delivered it.
You actually delivered the letter? That's commitment, all right. About that letter, who, in the name of the noble author, was it addressed to?
I can't tell you that. Sorry. Couriers can't disclose that sort of info.
Couriers have a confidentiality obligation. No one wants to have the addressees of their letters made public, after all. I have personally never sent a letter that I would need to keep secret from the public. Uh-oh. Don't look at me like that. I was talking about public opinion on the matter, not my own. Belduke was about to send an important letter when he was killed. That letter, it kind of rings a bell. Present evidence. It's just a hunch, and it might not have anything to do with this case, but I need to make sure. I need to know more about Belduke's letter. Witness.
Huh? Me? What's up?
The letter Sir Belduke asked you to deliver on that day. Was it...
Take that!
The letter you found that morning. Was it by any chance this one here?
Ah! Yes, that's the one. But wait! How did you get it? You're a piece of work, all right.
Objection!
Hold it, Sir Blue Knight. How did you come by that letter? It just sort of fell into my lap, so to speak. It was the professor who found it, but he doesn't need to know that. Defender, just what in the world are the contents of that letter? Well, the letter's blank. What? All this fuss over a blank letter. As you can see, there are some sheets of parchment inside the envelope. Indeed, and there's not a trace of ink on them. What is the meaning of this? Don't forget that Sir Belduke was an alchemist. He may have used some kind of invisible ink to write that letter. Indeed, that would...
About that, it doesn't make sense to me.
What? Miss Mailer?
The thing is, when I saw that letter, all the pages were full of writing, so you know.
Objection!
Hold it, witness. You saw the contents of Sir Belduke's letter?
I didn't read it. It's just that, you see...
Witness, this is an important matter. You will need to testify about it. Tell us what you know about this letter. Sir Belduke's letter.
That night, probably about 1 a.m., I made a delivery to Sir Belduke. He was writing a letter at the time. It'll be ready soon, so come and pick it up tomorrow morning. That's what he said. I left his study and wished the butler a good night. Then I went home. I went there again the next morning as promised. Sir Belduke was... Well, anyway, I looked for the letter. Then that guy went out like a light on the couch. I got a little scared, so I left as soon as I found the letter.
I see. So you witnessed the victim write the letter?
I wouldn't say witness. That sounds so legal. The sheets of parchment were on his desk, though. I saw that. And they were covered in writing, margin to margin.
But you don't know what the letter was about.
Telling you would be a breach of our privacy policy. I can't reveal its contents or who it was addressed to.
Oh, of course. I understand.
Frankly, I didn't get close enough. To Sir Belduke's desk, I mean, so I couldn't make out what he was writing.
In any case, where did you find the letter the morning after the victim was found dead? on a shelf next to his desk in a small letterbox. Ah, yes, right there next to his head. I was a teensy bit scared, though, coming so close to a dead man.
So that's where she took the letter from. It was right next to the corpse, huh? Now that the circumstances are clear, we shall proceed to the cross-examination. Oh boy. Let's see.
Hold it!
He went out like a light.
He was helping me look for the letter, and then it happened. Out of the blue. He just passed out, the rascal. He collapsed, and his eyes rolled back. He wouldn't move.
It almost sounds like he died.
No such luck, unfortunately.
That's crazy.
That horrible sound. He was grating his teeth. I thought my ears would explode.
Yep, not sure what came over me. Never happened to me before, sleeping like that. You know, I didn't just fall asleep. More like I sort of blacked out, I guess. No idea why. Oi, you guys, what do you think? Any ideas? I think it bears no relevance. And there you have my honest answer.
And I think it's good that I wasn't there.
But the question is, why did he black out like that? Oh boy. Do I have evidence? I've got picture. Is it this thing? Maybe? I'm gonna resave. Your Honor, I might have a clue as to why this witness suddenly lost consciousness. You do? Really? Did you work it out, Bluey? If that is the case, may the defense present some evidence. Which piece of evidence shows why this man fell unconscious? I think it's this one.
Take that!
Well, isn't that it, mister? Louie, want a sip of this? It'll wake you up. Oh, I guess not. Ah. Do I have anything else? I've got no idea. It's really odd, even for that guy, just to suddenly fall unconscious, but I don't think I have any evidence to show what might have caused it.
Mr. Wright,
Maybe we could use some more information. I think Luke may be right, and I think that's what the professor is trying to tell us too. To me, it looks like he's demanding I find the answer right this second. For now, it's probably best to gather some more info, like Luke said. Okay. That courier sure is committed to her work, or maybe just plain crazy.
Mr. Wright, this testimony raises more questions than answers, doesn't it? Sir Belduke wrote that letter the night before his death, and yet now it's blank.
That's a mystery, all right, but there's something else unusual in what she said.
There is.
The part about the guy going out like a light seems strange to me as well.
That witness said he felt a sudden surge of drowsiness at the time, but still.
Something about that seems kind of odd, even for a guy like him.
I have a feeling there's much more to Miss Mailer's testimony.
I have a feeling there's much more to Miss Mailer's testimony than meets the eye. I'll get to the bottom of this, don't worry.
Good luck.
Okay.
Hold it!
You took the letter from the crime scene.
That's right. I took it from the crime scene.
Objection!
Do you not realize that pinching evidence from a crime scene is itself a crime worthy of severe punishment?
Well, it might be a crime, sure. But just look at the witch's defender. He's gotta defend a witch using any dirty tricks at his disposal.
Finally, someone says it. Yup. Not that they're gonna do anything about it. Dirty tricks? What dirty tricks?
It's the same for me, you know. I'm a courier, so come rain or shine, I've got to deliver. Where there's mail, there's mailer.
I was so inspired by the young lady's spirit that I just kinda had to help. Although inspired by her dedication, he betrayed a lack of concentration. It's entirely my fault that it came to that.
Had I only been at the residence then.
Ugh, blarg.
Grail was out notifying the knights at the time.
Hold it!
Larceny, tampering with evidence, and compromising a crime scene. Indeed. Wait a minute. When you say the butler, you mean...
Miss Grey Earl, of course. She was in the corridor carrying a tray.
Ooh.
Hang on!
Miss Grey Earl, I'd like to ask you something.
Oh, certainly. What is it?
You stated previously that you excused yourself and left Sir Belduke's study shortly after 1 a.m.
Yes, that's correct.
However, according to Miss Mailer's testimony, the two of you came across each other while you were waiting outside that room. Why didn't you mention that until now?
That's because... I apologize. I'm afraid I completely forgot to mention it.
You forgot.
Miss Mailer very often comes with deliveries during the night. I did see her that night as well, but I didn't think much of it as it's nothing unusual. I had no reason to hide that from you. Please forgive me for the confusion.
Well, that kind of thing can happen. Human memory is in no way perfect. I don't imagine there's a problem here, is there? On the contrary, Your Honor. There's one more thing Miss Grey Earl forgot to mention. What is it? I'd like you to recall what Miss Mailer said about having met Miss Grey Earl that night.
Miss Grey Earl, of course. She was in the corridor carrying a tray.
Well, Miss Grey Earl, apparently you were carrying a tray at the time. What do you have to say about that? Jane Grey Earl, I believe you should add that to your testimony.
As you wish, my lord.
It's unlikely she really forgot about it. The fact she tried to hide it must mean something. Miss Mailer left just as I was bringing Master his usual drink. Ooh. What do you mean by usual drink?
When Master's experiments continued into late hours, he would always have some juice to ward off sleepiness.
What kind of juice?
Tomato juice.
Hang on!
Excuse me, mister. Mister! Blah! I know nothing about it. Nothing. Nothing at all. Witness, what have you done this time? Don't give me that scary look, Inquisitor Barnum. It was only just a little bit. Seriously, hardly anything at all. What are you talking about? Huh? What do you think I'm talking about? The juice. The tomato juice, of course. The tomato juice. Oh, you didn't. Surely even you wouldn't. Well, like I told you before, I think I sort of overdid it a bit the previous night. When I woke up, my head was pounding. That's why I went to see the alchemist. But you know what happened? And then when I was left alone in the alchemist's study, it kind of caught me eye. The bottle, I mean. The tomato juice. I thought it might make the headache go away, you know. So you drank it? The juice found at the crime scene? Well, why shouldn't I? It's a drink, ain't it? What else do you do with a drink? You drink it, right? Theft of mail is a federal offense. Oof. Is it really theft of mail if they wanted to send it, though? Like, if they put it in the letterbox, surely that means that it needs to be delivered. Like, yes, it became a crime scene, but... technicalities, am I right? And can you tell us where that bottle is now? Come to think of it, I don't remember seeing it at the crime scene.
It's been confiscated.
Confiscated?
As I mentioned previously, the occult crime analyst confiscated all of Master's personal belongings from the crime scene.
Is that so? Well, I believe we should take note of that bottle and add it to the court record. Okay, I got it now. Yeah, so there I was, having a bit of juice when that girl came round. Tell you the truth, I don't quite remember what happened after that. That's when he passed out, huh? Okay.
Hold it!
That's another count of larceny for him as well, yup. Okay. I have it now. I've got evidence. Juice.
Take that!
Mister, I believe the reason you might have lost consciousness at the crime scene is tied to a certain piece of evidence. But wasn't it just because, you know, I'd have had too much fun the night before? No, it was because of this! The tomato juice. You passed out right after drinking this juice. Therefore, it's not unreasonable to assume that there's a direct connection between the two. Tomato juice does not make people fall unconscious, Sir Blue Knight. Exactly. That's why something must have been added to the contents of the bottle. Something like a soporific. You mean sleep medicine? And if a soporific was mixed in with the tomato juice, that means Sir Belduke would have been unconscious at the time he was assailed. Oh. This sketch. Have another look. The red liquid trickling down from the victim's mouth. It's so tragic. He did. It's proof that Sir Belduke must have drank the tomato juice. I'd failed to consider this. Inquisitor Barnum, I bet you remember saying this to the court. Can you imagine anyone just sitting back and letting themselves be strangled? Clearly, there should have been evidence of a struggle. And since we haven't found any, that must mean the killer erased all traces of a fight from the crime scene. However, if the victim was unconscious when his assailant was strangling him, then the killer could have committed the crime through a small portal big enough to put their arms through after all.
Objection!
That may be so, but tell me this. How would the culprit have managed to obtain such a strong soporific? Ugh! Ugh, guys. It was very simple, and I think you've realized why. From the alchemist. That's right. An alchemist would no doubt have a wide array of various medicaments in their possession, and an apprentice would have little trouble stealing some of them from their study. Isn't that right, Miss Grey Earl? How should I respond to that? I'm sorry to disappoint you, may perhaps be the best way to put it. What do you mean? Even though that juice bottle has been safely stored for the past 3 months, I'm positive it would be impossible to find any traces of that soporific now. You wicked! This is unbelievable. Was it really the butler who did it? But everything she says holds true. She was pretending to be a boy. That's mighty suspicious to start with. Is she a witch? Hold on, everyone. The butler couldn't have done that to Sir Belduke. She would never ever do it. Please, let us testify just one more time. Miss Grey Earl, let's tell them. Let's prove they're wrong. They have no idea how much you've done for Sir Belduke. Miss Mailer. Very well, I shall grant your request. Testify about the relationship between Miss Grey Earl and Sir Belduke. The alchemist and his butler. Master took me in, a complete stranger. I will forever be indebted to him. That's why I could never make an attempt on his life, through magic or otherwise. Sir Belduke was a wonderful man. He's the one who recommended this line of work to me. And he's the one who told me about it. The confidentiality obligation, I mean. I've never once broken it. Oh, interesting. It is true that Sir Belduke evoked fear due to his being an alchemist. However, he was a man of admirable character who supported the townsfolk through his research. Why would anyone want to kill such a man? This question keeps haunting me, however much I think about it. Witches need no reason behind their evil. That is what makes them witches. Now, the defense may begin its interrogation.
Hold it!
The confidentiality obligation is a rule held among couriers. Is that right?
courier must not disclose the contents of a letter, nor the names nor addresses of its sender and recipient. Evil. But I'll tell you confidentially that, I love gossiping, bad-mouthing people especially, so I wasn't confident I could keep it. The confidentiality obligation, I mean. I was tempted to talk about this and that.
To think that Belduke trusted her.
But then Sir Belduke spoke to me. He told me this. Think about how you'd feel in that person's place. And that got me thinking. I really, really like to gossip. But when it comes to being gossiped about, people's messages are their secrets, and secrets must be kept.
Indeed, no one would want their letters to be publicly known. She's certainly determined when it comes to confidentiality. That's why she doesn't want to disclose the addressee of Belduke's letter. I'm not going to get it out of her.
I promise Sir Belduke, and I'm going to keep it no matter what. The promise, I mean. It's something I could pride myself on, right?
End of the road for testimony.
Everyone knows that Miss Greyrel respected Sir Belduke. That's why it seems so inconceivable that she could be the killer.
She doesn't have any motive, but that crime did take place. At this point, what we probably need to do is look at this case from a different angle, change the perspective, so to speak.
We just need to look at it from another angle. I wonder.
I feel we're getting close to the truth here. Now I just need to follow it through. That's an attorney's duty.
I'm sure you could do it, Mr. Wright.
Hold it!
You're claiming that you had no reason to kill Sir Belduke.
Yes, you can ask whomever you wish, and I'm sure they'll say the same.
That is so. It is widely known that Jean Greyrel was devoted to serving Sir Belduke. It is difficult to imagine that she could brutally murder her respected master. Indeed, I am of the same opinion. I have visited Sir Belduke on several occasions to inquire about this piece of evidence or that, and I must say that I felt there was a strong bond of trust between him and Miss Greyrel. Do you still think you can come up with a motive? A motive? Jean Greyrel's motive for murder. Greyrel risked a lot to conjure up a small portal in the wall, and then she killed Belduke. But what motive did she have? Ooh, suggest another motive. Wait a minute. Let's leave it for now.
Miss Greyrel wouldn't kill Sir Belduke.
Was murder really the culprit's primary objective?
What are you thinking about, Mr. Wright?
I think I may need to consider some other possibilities after all. Rather than trying to get any more info, maybe I'll be better off changing my perspective. Didn't they just say that witches need no motive for evil? That's what I'm saying, but I think they want me to click something else, so we'll suggest another motive. I understand. The defense will present evidence.
Wait a second, wait! Phoenix!
Evidence to indicate Jean Greyrel's motive for murder. No. Wait. What? What's this about, Sir Blue Knight? Sir Belduke's life was taken that day. That's a fact. However, was this actually the culprit's true objective?
Objection!
What? This is nonsense. Sir Belduke was murdered. What other possible reason could there be besides someone wanting him dead? I'm fairly positive that this piece of evidence will lead us to the culprit's real motive. What? Very well, defense. Present evidence to indicate Jean Greyrel's motive for committing this crime. Letter. Probably.
Take that!
Miss Greyrel had no reason for wanting to kill Sir Belduke. However, there was another incident that night which is related to this case. And I have an idea what it was. Another incident. I'm referring to this letter. Sir Belduke wrote a letter shortly before his death, yet all we have here are some blank sheets of parchment.
Fascinating. Are you suggesting maybe a witch used some kind of ink-removing magic on that letter, Mr. Wright?
No, the spell used by the witch was, of course, Go Door. Let's go over the state of the crime scene one more time. As we know from Miss Mailer's testimony, the letter was in a letterbox next to the victim's head. Ah yes, it's in the sketch as well. The letterbox is on the far side of the shelf. The point of the note is the point of the note is the location of that letterbox. Oh, unbelievable! As Inquisitor Barnum seemed to have noticed, the letterbox is within reach of the small portal conjured by the witch behind the painting on the wall. Oh, indeed it is. And as Sir Belduke's butler, you would have known exactly where he kept his letters. Indeed, Master Belduke would always keep his letters in that letterbox before posting them. You mentioned no such thing. Miss Grey Earl, you created a portal with Godor, not with the intention of killing Sir Belduke. You were after this letter, weren't you? That's merely a wild conjecture. I didn't even know about that letter at the time. You didn't. Now that's very strange. When Miss Mailer came by that night, Sir Belduke was busy writing that letter. And that's when you entered, carrying a bottle of tomato juice. There's no way you wouldn't have known that your master was writing a letter to someone. And you could have known even more than that. For instance, perhaps you knew what he was writing about. That's enough. I served Master Belduke as his butler. I never would have pryed into his private affairs. Whatever it was he wrote about in his final letter to the storyteller, it is no concern of mine. Oh, baby. Your Honor. Yes, defense. I'd like Miss Grey Earl's last statement to be added to her testimony. Any objections, Inquisitor Barnum? No, my lord. Very well. Witness, include what you just told us in your testimony. She messed up. As you wish, my lord. Oh, child. Steal his letter to the storyteller.
Hold it!
Let me get this straight. You didn't know anything about the victim's letter. That's right. I believe I have said as much already. Then, how did you know? How did you know it was addressed to the storyteller? Ah, indeed. Why don't you answer his question, witness? It's true that this letter is addressed to the storyteller. But when did you find out about it? I have spoken about the murder with many people over the past 3 months.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Mailer? Oh! I thought I caught her off guard, but it's her screech that's caught me off guard. Is there perhaps anything you'd like to add to Miss Grey Earl's testimony?
No, not really.
In that case, let me ask you a different question. Did you tell Miss Grey Earl about Sir Belduke's letter?
I don't know.
Do not beat about the bush, witness. Answer the question. If I may briefly interrupt. I am testifying right now. If you wish to question Miss Mailer, please do so once you have finished interrogating me. She's not going to let me question Mailer from the looks of it, and if she's so keen to prevent her from answering, this might just be a critical point in the testimony. I've got to find another way of fishing for that information. Witnesses, continue testifying. I've never once broken it. Ooh, is this where I present? Letter.
Objection!
No. Okay. Do I press it?
Hold it!
That's why she didn't want to discuss. I'm not gonna get it out of her. Wait, but huh? Depending on the contents of the letter, that might prove to have been her motive. I wonder what Sir Belduke wrote about in that letter. There's only one way to find out. I need to get Grey Earl to admit that she got hold of that letter. I'm worried, Mr. Wright, of what's lying ahead. The feeling's mutual, but I have to see through. I've got to pursue the truth. Okay. Okay. I have no reason Steal his letter from the storyteller.
Hold it!
Witness!
Oh, Monocle. Everyone has been very kind to me. They have also told me all sorts of things. I must have heard about it from someone at some point. Well, that incident was certainly much talked about. I do not agree, defense. Does her testimony hold together? No! There's a huge contradiction in Miss Grayerl's testimony. You are becoming very predictable, Sir Blue Knight. If there is a contradiction, I hope you have the evidence to prove it. Here's my chance. There's only one way to expose this contradiction. I can't present evidence because it was a statement from the witness. The defense has no intention of presenting evidence. What? The proof that there's a contradiction cannot be found in the court record. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? The professor pointed it out to me in the previous witch trial. In this court, an attorney's arsenal isn't limited to the court record. Each of the witnesses in this trial has given their own account of what occurred. Therefore, whenever one witness has testified, the other remaining witnesses have listened. Should one witness's testimony differ from another's testimony, then I suppose that in itself can also be considered a contradiction, can it not? Just opposing contradictory testimonies from different witnesses is the key. Miss Grayerl, your testimony contradicts another one that we've heard in this court today. This one.
Objection!
Not them moving, Gold Layton. It was a single word that gave you away, Miss Grayerl. What do you mean by that? The name of the recipient. There were only a few people who knew the intended recipient of that letter. 4 people, to be precise. Only 4 people. First was Sir Belduke, the author of the letter. Then there was Miss Mailer, who delivered it. And of course, the storyteller, its recipient, as well as one more person. The one who stole the letter, using a portal spell and swapped it with the blank sheets of parchment. The witch.
Maybe I did. Maybe I spilled the beans. About the letter, I mean. Maybe I told the butler.
You did what?
Well, because, you see, me and the butler are sort of friends. And it was about our dear Sir Belduke. I feel like I might have told her about it after all. See? If I did, then that's how she knew. About the recipient, I mean.
Objection!
I understand that you're friends with Miss Grayerl and you want to help her out. But I've got a piece of advice, Miss Mailer. You shouldn't lie, even for a friend.
Huh?
Remember your testimony. You told us about the courier's duty to keep the details of letters confidential. And you've also testified that you've never broken that obligation, remember?
Objection!
But hold on just a minute. As the victim's butler, Jean Grayerl might have had a chance to catch a glimpse of the envelope.
Objection!
No, she didn't. When Miss Mailer came with the delivery, Sir Belduke was still writing that letter. In fact, he was in the middle of it. At that time, the letter had not been addressed yet. And the next morning, when the body was discovered, the letter was already in the letterbox. Keep in mind that Miss Grayerl would have had no opportunity to see it then either. Is that so? She went to report the crime without even setting foot in the study. And then Miss Mailer appeared and retrieved the letter. Needless to say, Miss Grayerl couldn't have learned of the letter's recipient afterwards. Or maybe you have a good explanation, Miss Grayerl. I'd very much like to hear one. Can you please tell the court how you found out the recipient's name? Mr. Wright. Yes? Do you remember what I said when I was called to the witness stand? Yes. At the heart of alchemy lies the pursuit of the rules and logic that govern nature. You have demonstrated the power of your own logic. Miss Grayerl? Are you saying? Yes,
I confess. The abhorrent witch who used the spell Godor to swap the contents of that letter, and who took the life of Master Belduke. It was none other than I. No! Avery is sad. Poor baby. She just admits it so casually. No breakdown or anything. I was an only child born to a poor family. I'd been a witch since I was very little. When did I become aware of it? I don't remember. Although I was but a young child, I knew that being a witch was a crime. That's why I hid my witch's scepter and wouldn't use magic at all. My father worked as a bricklayer. He toiled every day, but we could hardly make ends meet. One winter day, we couldn't afford to pay the rent. We were going to lose the house. My mother was in tears, and my father was sitting with his head down, wordless.
I want money for Mummy and Daddy.
That day, I suddenly remembered about the witch's scepter that I'd hidden.
She is such a good baby, it's true. She did it for her family.
The Goldor spell. I thought I'd try it just once, casting the spell. But at the time, I had no idea what an irreversible mistake that would be. Even though no one told me, I knew from the very beginning what magic I was able to use. What should I turn into gold? I was thinking about it really hard, the little girl that I was. Something that wouldn't stand out, that could be taken for a work of art. Then I decided. I chose a pretty leaf that had fallen in our garden. But it wasn't the right thing to do after all. I was terribly punished for using magic, even just the once.
Punished? In what way were you punished?
I placed the leaf down in the back garden and cast the spell, but then Margaret suddenly walked in front of me.
Margaret?
My closest childhood friend. Margaret, right before my eyes, she was turned into gold.
Oh dear me.
I screamed and cried, but I knew I couldn't ask anyone for help. If anyone had seen it, they would have known it was the work of magic. And I knew Margaret wasn't coming back. That's terrible. Then my mother and father's faces flashed before my eyes. We may have been very poor, but we were always happy together. Had I been captured as a witch, I feared my parents probably wouldn't be safe either. That thought tormented me more than anything, and so I made the decision. I decided to end my own life. I threw myself into the river near the town. It was winter and the water was as cold as ice. I couldn't even move. It was painful. My consciousness started drifting away. The next thing I knew, I was in Master Belduke's residence. He risked his own life jumping into the freezing river to save me. I burst into tears and told him everything. I didn't want to go back home. I would only end up causing my parents grief. Master Belduke listened to me without interrupting, and then he told me this.
You can stay here, but from now on, you must live as a boy.
Master Belduke met with my parents and explained everything to them. They were very sad, but they agreed it would be for the best if I didn't return home. Poor Miss Greyhurl. That must have been so awful for her. Master bought the house for my parents so they wouldn't have to worry about paying rent anymore. As for Margaret, turned into gold, he brought her to his residence. He knew that if anyone saw her, they would report an incident of witchcraft.
And this Miss Margaret, is she still in that golden state?
Yes, she is.
That is strange. We have received no reports of anyone by that name having gone missing.
Margaret is being kept in the basement under Master's study.
The basement? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this Margaret, is she,
Yes, my dear friend, was the goat that we were keeping at our house.
Goat?
Until then, Master Belduke had mainly been researching medicine, but since the incident with Margaret, he became known as an alchemist.
So that's when he became an alchemist. I was wondering why the goat was the only thing not covered in dust.
That's how I started a new life as Master Belduke's butler.
Sir Belduke would sometimes work as a physician, curing the townspeople of their illnesses. As his assistant, you have also shown commitment to helping the townspeople do your work.
I forgot about being a witch and was able to live happily at peace with everyone. I thought it could stay like that forever.
But those peaceful days came to an abrupt end. Tell us, what in the world was the cause?
Even I am not quite sure what led to this. However, it all started 3 months ago with that lightning strike. Master Belduke and I were on our way back home, carrying specimens for experiments. An old bell tower appeared in the flames. Everyone who saw it was stupefied. But the expression on Master Belduke's face was unlike anything I'd seen before.
What do you mean?
His face went pale and twisted in sheer terror. He was shaking violently. It wasn't just astonishment at an unusual phenomenon. It seemed as if he was afraid of something more concrete.
Perhaps Sir Belduke saw something that others couldn't.
He cancelled his experiments for that night and began writing a letter to someone.
Letter?
I found out about it when I brought him his bottle of tomato juice. He was writing feverishly as if he were possessed. I saw some things. A few words in that letter. Expose everything. Cannot keep this secret any longer. The truth about the witch. Master Belduke was going to confess that I was a witch. Everything went black in front of my eyes. I will never forget the feeling that overwhelmed me at that moment.
That when you decided to commit the crime?
What I did first was accidentally singe a part of the wall in my room. It was an excuse to repaint that section of the wall green.
Then you also painted the wall behind the painting in Sir Belduke's study.
And when that fateful night came, I used a syringe to inject a soporific through the cork and into the bottle of tomato juice. So many thoughts were running through my head as I wished Master a good night. I opened the portal behind him, and he was right there in front of me, asleep. I reached for the letter in the letterbox, taking care not to wake him. And then I happened to notice the name on the envelope. Storyteller. When I read that name, the world all around me turned black once more. It's impossible to avoid what is written by the storyteller. It seemed as if I could hear the doors to all escape routes shut and closed. It was the sound of despair. I would like you to believe me, that the thought of taking Master Belduke's life never once occurred to me. I only planned to steal that letter and then disappear, but as I looked upon Master sleeping there in front of me, at that moment, I felt an evil presence awaken within me. Why did he save my life? And why did he betray me? Before I realized what I was doing, my hands were clutching his neck. He didn't move at all, so I kept on clenching his neck. That's it. That's the truth about what happened 3 months ago.
There is just one thing I fail to understand.
Yes?
You said you wanted to run away once you had stolen the letter, yet despite that, you continued to live in Sir Belduke's residence, and now here you stand. Why did you not run away?
My life had been thrown into disarray due to the absurdity of magic. I had learned all about alchemy living at Master's residence. Alchemy is concerned with the logic that governs the world. I wanted to believe that there truly was such a thing. So I stayed in that place hoping to one day see the irrational nature of magic overcome by the power of reason.
Magic being overcome by reason.
That night, I swapped the letter with blank sheets of parchment and waited for the sun to rise. I resolved to wait for the day when my true identity could be exposed through reason and logic. Master's death remained a mystery for 3 months, and people started to lose interest. And then you appeared, Mr. Wright. On the day you visited the residence, I was listening to your conversation from the other room. Has the time finally come for me? My heart was racing with anticipation. Then, a few minutes after everyone entered that room, an unbelievable incident took place.
That incident.
A witch appeared in Master's study.
What?
I wanted to get a look at that witch, so I created a portal in the wall behind the painting. Precisely at that moment.
Goldor!
The witch used one of the very spells that I can use too. When I heard those words, a single thought flashed through my mind. This was my chance. I could dispose of my witch's scepter. I knew that at the time what kind of a witch the Inquisition would be looking for.
A witch that could use Fomalia and Goldor.
It occurred to me that I only needed to change one of the magic gems. I'd previously found out that the Fomalia gem was purple. I realized that if I swapped the Godor magic gem for my amethyst, I could pin the blame for my crime on that other witch.
So you changed one of the gems and threw the witch's scepter into that room. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Objection!
Wait a minute, Jean Grey Earl. This statement of yours is highly problematic. How so, Inquisitor Barnum?
Yes, you are right.
Can someone explain to me what this is about?
I am a witch indeed. A sinful creature that killed the person to whom she owed her life.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling defenders. That's crazy.
However, regarding the gentleman standing next to you, Mr. Wright, he may have fallen victim to a witch, but that witch was not me.
Oh. Wait, what? Order, order, order in the court. What is the meaning of this? Jean Grey Earl admits to killing Sir Belduke, but not to turning Sir Layton into gold. That is the gist of it, my lord. But lying about it is meaningless. Lying.
Just being a witch is a crime in itself, and the punishment for that crime is the same regardless of whether she took one person's life or two. That's why there's no point in lying about it. I'm sure that's what the judge is thinking.
Grey Earl is still claiming she never laid a finger on the professor. But if there's no point in lying, does that mean she must be telling us the truth? So in that case, who's responsible for what happened to the professor? If it wasn't her, then who was it? Mind if I say something? Take a hint, witness. Does it feel like this is the right moment for you to talk? Yeah, well, that's kind of why I was staying quiet until now. But I either say it now or never. Don't simply fall silent after saying that. It only makes it weigh on my mind more. Whatever did you want to say? Oi, Bluey. Yes? I need to make sure about something. My head's not what it used to be, you know? Yes? The alchemist butler, Lady Butler. She slipped sleep medicine into his drink?
That's correct. She laced his tomato juice with it.
And then she strangled the alchemist afterwards?
Yes, Sir Belduke was unconscious from the sleep medicine, so he didn't resist.
And that explains why we found no signs of a struggle at the crime scene. Yeah, about that. I let it slip earlier about what I did at the crime scene, right? I told you that, I had a few sips of that juice.
And the sleep medicine mixed in made you sleep like a log. Yes, we remember.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is just between us, okay? You see, when I appropriated that juice, the juice bottle was, well, still unopened.
It was unopened?
My throat was parched and I wasn't thinking straight. That brand new bottle was just there, waiting for me with a corkscrew conveniently laid next to it. I couldn't just let that go to waste. I swiftly pulled the cork out and got to drinking.
What?
So in case you don't get what I'm getting at, the alchemist didn't have a single drop of the juice with the sleep medicine.
Huh.
What? Witness, you went to the trouble of opening a bottle found at a crime scene just to drink its suspicious contents? That's what I've been telling you. I was dying of thirst. That doesn't justify what you've done.
The Inquisition shall deal with this witness after the trial. You will find out what it means to be dying of thirst in a more literal meaning. However, let us not waste any more time with him now. The witch has confessed her crimes. There's no need to investigate Sir Belduke's death any further. Who's gonna tell him? Pain.
Indeed, you are right, Inquisitor. Her role in the Sir Layton incident is not entirely clear, but a person who kills her protector, to whom she owes her very life, can be nothing other than a witch. The court has sufficient grounds to sentence her as such.
Belduke didn't drink the juice that night. And if that's true, there's one thing here that doesn't add up. Mr. Wright, I have to say there's something about this that's bothering me. I'm sure there's a contradiction lurking in that man's testimony. You think so, Luke? Can I really turn a blind eye to that? Let's investigate the contradiction. Mister, you're saying you opened the tomato juice bottle, but that claim contradicts a certain piece of evidence. What?
Defense, I'd like a word with you.
Yes, Your Honor?
At this point, your client's innocence has already been established. Therefore, whether there is a contradiction in that man's testimony or not should no longer be of your concern.
That may be so, Your Honor, but even though I'm here to defend the accused, the true duty of any attorney is to uncover the truth behind what happened. My job's not done until there are no more contradictions left.
Very well.
Sir Blue Knight.
Oh gosh.
Let us hear about this contradiction you have discovered. The bottle was first opened by that guy, meaning Belduke didn't drink any of it. That means there's one piece of evidence that should be very difficult to explain.
I would like to hear about this contradiction too. The defense shall present evidence. Where's the contradiction in this witness having been the one who opened the tomato juice bottle?
It's probably the picture.
Take that!
Yes, okay.
The contradiction can be seen in one of the sketches of the crime scene.
In one of the sketches?
Please take a look at Sir Belduke's mouth. We can see a line of red liquid trickling down from his mouth.
Yes, well, we have already established that it was the tomato juice.
Oh! Exactly, Your Honor. Sir Belduke didn't drink any of the tomato juice that night. Which means there's only one other possibility. That red line, as we thought first of all, is blood. Sir Belduke must have tried to fight back the assailant and bit his tongue in doing so. Unfortunately, that would only bring us back to the problem we encountered earlier. If the victim had put up a fight, then there should have been traces of a struggle at the crime scene, and yet no such traces were found.
That's what made you assume the witch must have used Pomalia. My voice has left me. No, please. Yes, that is so. As I explained before, Master Belduke didn't struggle at all at the time. But when I think about it now, in light of the new information, it was very unnatural. The victim didn't drink the soporific, yet didn't struggle. But what does this mean? If it's not tomato juice nor blood brought about through a struggle with the murderer, then what else could it be? Since it's not tomato juice, we have to assume it's blood after all. Yeah, right. It's gotta be that. We have ruled out the possibility that the victim bit his tongue while struggling with the attacker. Indeed. Then there's gotta be a different reason for that blood being there. He must have suffered internal bleeding that was somehow connected to his death. But what could have caused it? Your Honor, if I may ask one question. A question? To whom? Oh, the hiccups. If I just clarify this one suspicion, I may be able to explain the blood shown in the sketch. That's why I need to question one person in particular. Barnum, Grey Earl, or Amir? I think it's Grey Earl. Well then, I have a question for Miss Grey Earl. Yes, Mr. Wright? On the day of the crime, did anything go missing from the crime scene? Missing? Such as the tomato juice that a certain person drank, do you mean? Yeah, something like that. But was there anything else? I'm afraid I cannot say. You may remember that I didn't enter Master's study that day, not even once. If I may be so bold as to make a suggestion, perhaps it would be wiser to ask someone who went into Master's study. He's right, I'll try again. Your Honor, please let me ask one more question. Okay. Alright, Amir. Mister, can I ask you something? Yeah? Don't give me that scary look, Bluey. I know nothing. Nothing at all. I've got nothing to tell. Amir's as innocent as a little lamb, but is his confidence more than just a sham? You'd be better off without that bard. You drank the tomato juice that was at the crime scene, right? Don't keep asking me about that over and over again. So what if I did? Then, I have another question for you. Did anything else disappear from the crime scene that day? Nah, I didn't notice anything.
Objection!
Witness, just what have you done this time? You look like a dog caught making a mess on the carpet. Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know about anything going missing. I'm innocent. Please believe me. Truth could drown in his swimming eyes. Some tell lies well, others cannot tell lies. Looks like my gut feeling was right. He took something from the crime scene. Something that could be directly connected to that red liquid around Belduke's mouth. What on earth did that man steal from the crime scene? A certain item disappeared from the crime scene that day. And at this very moment, it's highly likely that the item is right in front of our very eyes. What? It's here. Isn't that right, mister? Is it? I have no idea. He's literally the biggest thief of all time. Defender, I order you to show us what this item is. The item that the witness took from the crime scene. This!
Got it!
It's this bottle. The bottle. Miss Grey Earl, I'd like you to clarify something for me. What would that be, Mr. Wright? Sir Belduke was working on creating certain medicines. He had various dangerous substances in his possession as well. How were they stored? Master kept them in a locked medicine cabinet. The bottles were labeled so that it was clear they were dangerous. They've all been confiscated. As for those labels, did they resemble the label on that guy's bottle? Mister, what are you doing with the product of Master's research? It's not what you think. I didn't have any evil intentions or nothing. That bottle belonged to Master, and it was used to store strong poison. Poison strong enough to kill. Poison?
What? The red liquid trickling down Sir Belduke's mouth was definitely blood. Now, as for what caused him to bleed like that from his mouth, it was the deadly poison from the bottle this guy stole from the crime scene. This is outrageous. What? Order, order, order. Whoa, 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 whoa. You expect me to just keep quiet? It was poison? Poison? Am I gonna die?
Objection!
Just wait and see. Time will tell. Yeah, I guess. More importantly, I want to know why you had that bottle. Huh? Well, that's, Remember how I told you I drank the alchemist tomato juice? Indeed, it is not something easy to forget, especially having heard it several times. Well, that was when I saw it on the floor. This bottle right here. It was totally empty, and I thought, you know, it's such a fancy-looking bottle and all. I'm a bit of a skull fancier. They have this air of danger about them, right? They certainly do. So, since it was there, and I was there too, I felt we were kind of meant for each other. I thought this bottle's so classy I could die for it. Had any poison been left in the bottle, you would have died instantly. But if it was empty, it was probably harmless. Ooh, hear that? I'm gonna live. Good thing I rinsed it well before use. My guy. But if the victim was killed by poison, that raises a new question, of course. Who could have poisoned him? Considering all the evidence and the testimonies we've heard today, the answer is so close I can taste it. Sir Belduke was poisoned by himself. It was, of course, Sir Belduke himself. Sir Belduke himself. Sir Belduke took that poison of his own will. His death was suicide. Baby girl didn't do the deed exactly. Innocent! Attempted murder, yes, but, like, ignore that. That is preposterous. A suicide? Inconceivable.
Objection!
Think about it, Inquisitor. That would explain the most unnatural aspect of his death. The most unnatural aspect. Miss Grey Earl, when you were strangling Sir Belduke, he put up no fight whatsoever. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Until today, I was convinced it was due to the sleep medicine. It wasn't, because he didn't take any. The truth is, when you gripped his throat, Sir Belduke was already dead. He had poisoned himself. It would be conspiracy to commit murder, yeah. But would the poison have caused him to bleed from his mouth? I personally know of no poison that works instantly and causes such symptoms. Oh, you don't? Can't just tell them that it happens on TV all the time. There are certain plants in this area that contain a highly poisonous substance. In the course of his research, Master Belduke found a way to extract that poison. What am I hearing? Is there really such a dangerous plant in Labyrinthia? The poison is very bitter to taste, so it would be impossible to secretly slip it into someone's food or drink. And it would cause internal damage. It is a very powerful poison. Drinking it would induce a most painful death. Desecrating corpse, yeah, true. And to think Sir Belduke could... But did Sir Belduke really choose such an agonizing death for himself? It doesn't seem like he suffered that much. I would like to know that too. Miss Grey Earl, you mean to say that Master killed himself after exposing me as a witch? I can't believe it. He just wouldn't commit suicide. Indeed, we cannot take such a theory at face value. Had he committed suicide, I dare say he would have left a suicide note. I can't say why Sir Belduke committed suicide, but I think there's a piece of evidence that can confirm his suicide was a possibility. There is a piece of evidence like that? Guys, we've only been talking about a letter for the past 2 hours. You have such evidence. You want to present it to the court immediately. Present the evidence indicating that Sir Belduke's death could have been suicide.
Take that!
That's Sir Belduke's letter. let's see. It was addressed to the storyteller, wasn't it? This is the last letter written by Sir Belduke. Now, if his death was a suicide, then this letter may well be a suicide note.
Objection!
What we have here is nothing more than blank sheets of parchment. Whether or not there was a suicide note is something we can only speculate about. That's right. But there's one person who knows whether this letter was really a suicide note. You mean, the person who swapped its contents? In other words, you, Jean Greyer. Witness, you stole Sir Belduke's letter on the night of the crime. Tell us, what was written in it?
I don't know.
What? You don't know?
I did steal the letter, yes, but I don't know what its contents were.
You mean you have not read it?
I couldn't bring myself to read it. It seemed that if I did, everything that had happened since Master Belduke saved my life would be ruined in an instant. I've taken it out and held it in my hands many times, but no matter what, I just couldn't. Miss Greyer,
can you tell us where that letter is now?
I have it here.
Oh! You're carrying it around with you? If you were searched, you would have been done for!
That night, having killed Master Belduke, I decided to stay in his residence. I knew my identity would be revealed sooner or later, and I was ready for it. So until that time, I decided to always keep the letter with me. Milord.
Yes, witness?
If you don't mind, could you please read it out loud? Now that I'm here in this place of judgment, I think I'm finally ready to hear what Master wrote.
Hold it! Miss Greyer, I think you should be the one to read it.
Me?
Sir Belduke wrote this letter to the storyteller as he was preparing to die. I think it's only right his last words should be read by you.
Yes, you're right. I see. I understand. Please allow me to read the letter aloud. My dear friend, I hope you will be able to forgive me for leaving this world of my own will. I have finally made this decision, having seen that accursed bell tower
appear in the flames on that dreadful night. That lightning was a sign that we have angered the gods. What I have done cannot be forgiven. I can never escape from it. For the past few days, I have been thinking that it might be best to simply expose everything. This town's secret, the truth about the witch. Of course, I understand that secrets need to be kept. However, I have grown very tired. I'm afraid I cannot keep the secret any longer. I have only two concerns. The first is my daughter. It pains me to be leaving her alone in this world, although she probably doesn't think of me as her father.
A daughter?
I was not aware that Sir Belduke had a daughter.
Mr. Belduke seemed to know a lot about this town. This town's secret, and the truth about the witch.
Truth about the witch? Somehow I don't think he was talking about Miss Greyer.
Oh. The second matter, weighing heavily on my mind, is that Jean will be left on her own.
They make me sad
Seeing
too.
her growing up, so strong and righteous, in defiance of her fate, had given me hope. A short while ago, she brought me my usual, and what will be my last, drink. There are so many things I wanted to tell her, but I could only manage a thank you. She is a very sharp child. Had I said any more, she would have caught on. You could call me a selfish man, but I didn't wish my last memory of her to be a sad one.
Master Belduke. if the fate handed to her by this town has made her life an ordeal until now, I hope from the bottom of my heart that a wonderful story awaits her next. I intend to leave my residence to her, and I would like you to look out for her.
Alas, it is time for me to put my pen down. My dear friend, what I truly wish to express to you is too complicated for words. I hope one day you will understand, but for now I bid you farewell. The time has come for me to go.
This letter, it wasn't a denunciation of me being a witch.
Master Belduke cared about you until the very end.
Yes, how could I have forgotten? I'm sure I knew it all along. So why did I? How could I have done that to him?
Squirrel. My lord. What is it, Inquisitor Barnum? I think it is about time for the guilty verdict. Guilty? The Inquisition withdraws the charges against Maya Fey and charges Jean Greyearl with being a witch. All the evidence corroborates this accusation, and she even admits her guilt. Hence, the Inquisition asks that the witch be found guilty and punished immediately.
Objection!
Not so fast, Inquisitor Barnum. What do you want now, Sir Blue Knight? Admittedly, Miss Greyearl did attempt to strangle Sir Belduke, but he'd consumed a deadly poison and was already dead at the time. Barnum. Therefore, she's not guilty of murder. And one more thing. It also wasn't Miss Greyearl who turned Professor Layton into gold. There was another witch present at the crime scene. The defendant, Maya, saw her too. To put it simply, Miss Greyearl didn't kill anyone. Yeah, she didn't kill anyone, and yet you still want to burn her? Maya, do you even know how it feels to be put in this cage? It's like everyone's against you, and it's super frightening. I'm not a witch, but I've been thrown into this cage and almost sentenced for something I didn't do. And now you're about to do the same thing to another person? That's just not right. Is that all you have to say? Huh? The one who's in the wrong is not me, but you, Sir Blue Knight. Whether the witch committed a crime or not is completely irrelevant. This is the witch's court. All witches must be punished by fire. But that's crazy. Why? Why, Barnum? By fire, indeed. Inquisitor Barnum is absolutely right. Being a witch is a crime. You understand that, don't you, Miss Greyearl? Yes. Very well, then. The court is ready to issue the final verdict. Angry Avery noises. Maya Fey is found innocent, and in her place, Jean Greyearl is found guilty of being a witch and shall be cast into the fire.
No! You can't!
Hold it! Please, hold the verdict!
Espella?
What is it now, Espella Cantabella?
They're taking Kilda with fire far too literally. They are.
There is nothing else we can do. This is the course of things, and you should know it well.
Indeed, all witches shall be cast into the flames. That is the law of this town. A law that was written by your very own father. And furthermore, a law that has always been obeyed in the town of Labyrinthia.
A town like this should never exist in the first place.
What? Such insolence!
That's crazy.
That's heresy! She's criticizing the storyteller's story! Even the storyteller's daughter has no right to criticize the story!
Trials in which innocent people are sentenced to death by fire. I shall make sure this is the last one.
What do you mean, Espella?
Since you're all so keen on the rules created by the storyteller, you should know exactly what I mean. The stipulation for ending the witch trials. Once the Great Witch Bezella is burned, the witch trials will end. At present, I am under suspicion. You know very well why that is, don't you?
You? Well, you don't mean that you're,
I am guilty. I am the Great Witch Bezella.
What?
Now, cast me into the flames and let Miss Grail free.
Thanks, girly. I'm dead. She's really just confessing to this after we said we'd help her, though. Do you not trust me?
Miss Cantabella. This shall be the last of the
Facepalm
witch
is
trials.
real.
No one else need be burned hereafter.
Espella, just what are you saying? I can't let you do that.
Please, Mr. Wright, let me do as I wish.
But what if I said no?
I'm sorry, but this is a problem concerning the people of Labyrinthia.
Are you telling me, an outsider, to stay out of this?
No! Please don't do it!
There must be another way. You don't need to do this. It's all right, Luke, Maya, Mr. Wright, and Mr. Layton. I truly appreciate all you have done for me.
No, you don't, because if you did, you wouldn't be throwing your life away.
This can't be happening.
Miss Cantabella, your confession will have very serious, or rather, fatal consequences for you.
True.
May we assume that you fully understand those consequences and are willing to accept them?
I am Espella Cantabella, the storyteller's daughter. But I also have another name. I am the Great Witch Bezella. I have lived hidden in the dark pages of my father's story, deceiving all of you. Many lives have been sacrificed because of me. But that shall end today.
Court attendants, seize that woman! She is the Great Witch Bezella.
Espella.
Maya!
Espella, this just isn't right. Let's go! Nick, give me a
That's messed up. That's really messed up. Press F to pay respects. Can we get some salutes? Some 07s in the chat for Maya. That is where we're gonna stop for today, though. My voice is gone. Thank you guys so much for coming, though. Whoa, 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 whoa. A taste of despair, indeed. Alright. We're gonna send out a raid, so if you guys want to stick around for that, awesome. But if not, that is totally okay.